Namaste. Greetings, all of you. On this day, we are trying to read one of the best books written by our beloved teacher, Grandmaster Shavakaksvi. The existence of God is self-evident. This is one book the teacher wanted us at that time when he was there. He also gave us the idea that we can buy this book and then gift it to our friends and relatives. He said this is one of the best gifts you can give to them, and he gave us some clues. Before we give this book to as a gift to our friends and relatives, he said, make sure when they receive it, they know something about the energy so they can appreciate what you're giving them. So our job is not just to buy this book and gift it as another gift to your friends and family, but you have to make sure that the concept of energy has to be understood by them before they receive this gift. If this is understood, the concept of energy, the chakras, and the awareness that they are souls using this physical body, if that three concepts, the first one being you're not the body, that you are the soul using the body, that is the first awareness we need to let them know. We need to tell them about the existence of the energy body that is supporting them. We need to give them some clue about the nature of chakras. If these three truths are shared with them, and if they get this book, they got the gift of the life. The question is, what is so special in this book? According to our teacher, in this book, he has preserved his spiritual experiences. Now, so when you say the teacher has preserved his spiritual experiences, this is something like, I would not call this a book anymore. I would call this as, this will become suddenly, if you understand that you are getting access to the spiritual energies, experiences of a great teacher, then through this book, you can shift your awareness and consciousness into the higher realm directly. This is like doorway to heaven. If you know who you are, and if you know what kind of teacher you're having access to. So these two things are very important. If you're thinking that you are the body, the brain, and the nervous system, you become like any other animal, right? They also have five senses. You also have five senses. Now, but then you will say, I have the sixth sense also. If you have the sixth sense, the first among the sixth sense will be to know that you have a creative imagination, a visualization mind. In other words, you are the creator, not the body. You are the one who's using the body. Right? So that's the first thing that we need to be aware of. Right? Let it be a concept right now. We'll make this as an experience in a few minutes time. Right now, we understand this as a concept. Now, I'm talking already in this direction. I'm already talking in this direction with the assumption that most of us are pranic healers. The first thing that we need to know right now is that this book is not just another book. We need to understand this book. This book has a recording of the spiritual experiences of our beloved teacher, Grandmaster Shavakaksvi. A teacher of a highest caliber, right? Now, when you are reading the experiences of this teacher, you would know that the written words have energy, and the written words have energy. So when we read it, and when you're tuning into the words of the teacher, you're literally tuning into his consciousness. So it can shift our awareness to a very high degree. This can be very special reading for us, right? We'll try to understand the depth of our teacher within the next few weeks. We'll get to reading right now. I'm starting from the first page. From the acknowledgement I'll go. Now to the divine providence, whose blessings makes everything possible. Divine providence, that aspect of God which provided everything to this universe, everything to planet Earth, everything to humanity. So this is an acknowledgement to the existence of a giving aspect of God, right? The teacher is invoking for that great source which provides life sustenance to all of us. Then to my Sadguru, Lord Mahaguruji Meling, his disciples, especially Chauhan Jigmeling, spiritual teachers and spiritual beings, for the patience, instructions, and nurturing. To the three remarkable friends, Mang the Baum, Mang Mike, Mang Nene, for the help and contribution. This is the acknowledgement given by the teacher to the great supreme being which provides all sustenance to planet Earth and human beings. And then he remembers his Sadguru, right? Now this spiritual teacher, Grandmaster, did not have a physical Sadguru in this lifetime, right? In this earth plane, when he lived recently, he did not have a physical guru. In other words, when he was born, this great teacher was already highly evolved. And the glory of this teacher was already shown up during his very early teenage time, when he was trying to read many spiritual books and he was demonstrating the effect of healing, discussions with great spiritual teachers, the amount of charitable work he was doing right from the teenage time. All this, the way he lived such a simple life, even though he was born in a very rich family. All evidence of being a great yogi was on display right from the very young age, during the teenage time itself. In other words, glory was already shown, and this teacher did not have a physical teacher who guided him, right? So this great teacher, whom he's referring to as Sadguru, Lord Mahaguruji Meling, in the Buddhist tradition is also called as Lord Buddha Padmasambhava. So now here we are talking about the hierarchy which is of a great Buddha and his disciples, right? So in this, he refers to the senior disciple, his senior disciple, which means the senior disciple of Lord Mahaguruji Meling, Chauhan Jigmeling Pa. Now, what is the meaning of the word Chauhan here? Now, you have the minerals, you have the plant kingdom, you have the animal kingdom, right? Then you have the ordinary human beings. Now, these human beings are in incarnation or in evolution to achieve a target. The target is to become Paramahansa, right? Or a saint. Now, that is already initiation 4. Now, the teachers who guide or who make Paramahansas are called holy masters. That's initiation 5. And then the teachers who guide the holy masters are Chauhan and Mahachohans. So then you have the Bodhisattvas and Buddhas. So in other words, you're talking about the senior disciple who's a Chauhan, who guides holy masters, or something like that, who's co-working with holy masters. So the hierarchy of our teacher is huge, right? So this gives us some understanding on what kind of teacher are we having, or we had in the physical plane before, and what kind of spiritual teacher whom we are aligned to in the school. It gives you some clue. And then he talks about the all spiritual beings for the patience, nurturing, and instructions from the inner plane, intuitive plane, all that, right? Then he remembers his great, remarkable friends, Mang the Bon, Mang Mike, and Mang Neme. These great friends of our teacher have worked with Grandmaster in the experiments he made with pranic healing and Hatha yoga. This he has written in another book also, right, about them. Okay, that's acknowledgement. Now, this is from Galileo. All truths are easy to understand once they're discovered. The point is to discover them. Very simple, but very powerful message. All truths are easy to understand once they're discovered. The point is to discover them. Now, you have to remember pranic healing right now. Now, before pranic healing in this form came, my friends, healing of different modality, healing in the form of different, healing in different form was existing from the ancient times. But those kind of healing modalities were in the form of art, right? Ancient arts. They were never like science. So in this case, the teacher has to invent, recoin words, like create letters, alphabets, and then create a language out of it. Literally, every piece of pranic healing that we know as it is now, the modern pranic healing, which was invented by our teacher, Grandmaster, was piece by piece coined by Grandmaster. So until then, nobody knew what existed. But when he created those words, those principles, those amazing protocols, right? Until he created, nobody knew about it. That was like literally something like a magic if somebody can understand this concept without touching, without giving any medicine. If somebody can heal, that was literally would be magic for people, or ordinary people would think that only science can do it. Now that formula, he broke that particular pattern and created something like a science out of nothing. Such an abstract topic, he concretized as protocols. He concretized as techniques, tools, right? And once he gave it in a book form, it is so easy to follow, so simple to follow, right? But until it was created, it was almost impossible for us to comprehend or understand. So the effort that the teacher has put, all credits that are due to pranic healing and Hatha yoga should be given to Grandmaster Chawakaksvi. That's what I could understand from these words. Until it was discovered, it's really difficult, right? But once it is discovered, it looks easy to understand. Now, this book, according to Grandmaster, is a dedication to the people of the world, which is we, right? That's the happiest part. This is dedicated to us. Now, this I want you to close your eyes and then feel the energy as I read this. Dedication to the people of the world. May this book bring light, peace throughout the entire earth. This is exactly what we want right now in this time on earth. I'll close your eyes again, stay there. I will read that for you one more time. Now, this book is dedicated by beloved teacher Grandmaster to the people of the world. May this book bring light, peace throughout the entire earth. Now close your eyes. Be aware of the light that is coming down from the teacher. His words are energies, and you could receive it already. That light is healing energy. This book will provide super healing for all of us in the next few minutes, right? Can you open your eyes, please? It has 5 topics. The first one is a path of knowledge and understanding. The second one, the second chapter in the series is union of spirituality and science. The third one is to know who am I, and the fourth one is the spiritual findings, right? The fifth one, that is very special. It talks about the spiritual evolution is cyclical but on an upward trend. It talks about the zodiac and other things in that actually, right? Some lessons to learn. We can also learn it from a completely new perspective because it is presented by a teacher for a specific reason in this book. We'll try to understand all that. Okay, chapter 1. Now, the path of knowledge and understanding. In Sanskrit, this is called Jnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge and understanding. In Sanskrit is called Jnana Yoga. So when we read this book, we are trying to practice Jnana Yoga. Okay. Yoga means spiritual oneness. The word yoga means spiritual oneness. What is spiritual oneness? Spiritual oneness means the incarnated soul is achieving a higher degree of oneness with the higher soul and with a certain degree of oneness with God and oneness with all. There are many paths to achieve illumination and spiritual oneness. One of the paths is the yoga of knowledge and understanding. This is called Jnana Yoga. This path is the easiest for those who are mentally developed. By reading this book just once, the spiritual cord will become much bigger. There will be greater downpour of spiritual energy. The crown chakra and all other chakras will become bigger. These effects are temporary. It is necessary to repeatedly read this book over and over again. A person can repeatedly achieve illuminate. A person can rapidly achieve illumination and divine oneness within a short period of time by reading this book, right? The time factor may vary from several years to a lifetime. One lifetime is still considered as short because the other yogis take many incarnations just to achieve this state. Okay, when I read this, you must be, if you're sensitive, by now you'll be feeling a lot of tingling sensation in the head. Some of you might have felt some pressure also. We'll try to read it one more time. The word yoga, the teacher says, is spiritual oneness, right? So when I say spiritual oneness, it is you knowing that you are the Jivatma or the incarnated soul, right? And then you know yourself to be the incarnated soul or the Jivatma, and you're trying to become one with the higher soul or the Atma. And then he says, to a certain degree, oneness with the divine spark. And then oneness with God. So there is union of the incarnated soul, this higher soul, and the divine spark, and the supreme God. Depending on who you are and what kind of development you are in as a soul, this would change. The word union, yoga just means that, right? Then he talks about this as a path of knowledge, which is Jnana Yoga. And according to the teacher, for people who are mentally developed, people who are more mental, who can who have developed ajna and throat, to them, people can perceive things in a different way using these books, using the literature, using the understanding on spirituality. These people can understand the abstract things more easily. They can understand the soul, they can understand the nature of God and the path of knowledge that it leads to in achieving oneness or the union with God, that is easy for people who are mental. So people who are mentally developed, when they read this book, the teacher says the downpour of spiritual energy will be much, much stronger. The spiritual cord will become thicker. Now this will help them achieve greater oneness with God, right? So this can vary from person to person depending upon who you are. Depending upon the development of the person, this can vary from few years or several years to a lifetime. That depends on your development. Now, the downpour of divine energy that comes by reading this book, he says, is temporary, which means you need to read this book repeatedly to achieve rapid elimination. Okay, the yoga of knowledge and understanding also requires physical purification and inner purification. The physical and inner purification together is called character building in our school. Without physical purification, the body may become sick. Without inner purification, the meditator can become psychologically imbalanced. This is also important. It is also important to generate good karma by doing service and typing in order to offset one's ancient negative karma. Okay, let's understand this more. He says, even though you're trying to evolve by reading a book, by using the knowledge that you have, the mental energy that you have, you still have to have physical and inner purification. So when you have physical and inner, physical purification is done by exercise and breathing technique, right? The inner purification is done by refining the thoughts and emotions. Refining the thoughts and emotions and maintaining a clean physical body together is called character building, right? Now, if the path of yoga and knowledge, even though this is like just reading a book, the downpour of divine energy coming down can be very strong. So if a practitioner uses this technique of achieving elimination through jnana yoga, through reading of the book, if the person does not have mental and emotional purification, the divine energy coming down because of this reading or this wisdom coming down or the divine energy coming down through the reading of the book can stimulate whatever the person has. That can cause psychological situation. This is exactly the reason why the great ones during the full moon time, they bless the whole humanity, because the downpour of spiritual energy during the full moon time is super, super high. So they want to bless humanity so that the consciousness is shifted up, and during this time they are polarized to the light of God and not on the physical, gross or lower emotions. So when you're polarized on the higher level, your higher consciousness gets fertilized, not your lower nature. So exactly the same. So if you maintain some amount of inner and physical purification, this path of knowledge which you are using to get illumination will be amazing, right? It is also important to generate good karma by service and tithing in order to offset the ancient negative karma. Every time you read spiritual books, every time you're bringing down spiritual energy, you are fertilizing many things, right? What you have inside gets fertilized. So in order to offset this old negative karma, so in other words, friends, the word karma here is referring to a technique to correct and improve one's life. What does it mean? If you look at it from this point of view, the soul incarnates in the body to evolve. So if you look at it from this point, evolution involves time and it involves mistakes, right? So you are evolving from where you were. So in other words, literally it means that you have not perfected anything before. So you have done probably a lot of mistakes, a lot of good things and a lot of mistakes also. But then You need to correct and refine yourself from where you are. So in other words, your old mistakes have to be corrected. Fixing yourself, that is called incarnation. So there's another chance. Life is nothing but a chance to correct or redo your past. What you have not done well, your inability to perfect yourself yet, is given one more chance. So in other words, we are coming down on earth to experience a residual life, a life which is a product of the past. So we have created certain thoughts, certain emotions in the past, which are like seeds. Now that is coming down on the physical plane as this lifetime. So what is considered as life experiences right now are not created by you right now. It is a product of your thoughts and feelings. So if your thoughts and feelings were good, you will enjoy good fruit. The very fact that you have a difficult time, it means that your thoughts and feelings were not good. So what is given right now is an opportunity to fix it. To fix it, you need to help other people, because by helping another people, you are helping somebody who has a problem to fix himself or herself. So this seed of helping other people will be used as a karmic effect to neutralize something that you have done negative in the past. So your good thoughts, good actions right now are necessary in order to offset or neutralize the negative things that you have done in the past. So service and tithing is very important when you practice spirituality, or when you understand spirituality, right? People, the moment they know who they are, they're trying to move from that point as a soul, right? Once they understand that they are the soul, then immediate job is to make the soul light brighter. In order to make the light brighter, they need to work out certain lessons. To neutralize those heavy lessons, you need to do good things. That's called service and tithing. Now, Master talks about some truths here. The original title was this book. For this book, the original title was called Spiritual Findings. Though through many years of study, our Hatha Yoga experiments and inner experiences, the use of mental, intuitive, and higher intelligence and higher transmissions, many important spiritual findings can be concluded. This title, now, what Grandmaster says is the earlier title for this book, he thought about this as spiritual findings, right? In this, whatever he has studied for years, his Arhati Yoga experiments, inner experiences, his mental and intuitive guidance, the higher intelligence that he got from other spiritual elders and teachers, the spiritual transmission he got from his guru, his own spiritual findings, right? All this were concluded in this book. Then the title was changed to Existence of God is Self-Evident, since this is one of the most important spiritual findings. So when he says the existence of God is self-evident, the teacher is tuning into a time when he says that is no more a concept, but that is an experience for him. We'll talk about that also. We'll read through his words, so we'll understand better. Okay, God's blessing be with you in your search for spiritual truth. So as we start reading the book, he blesses us to have illumination. Now this is a good thing to read one more time. Close your eyes. When I read this, you observe what is happening to your ajna, your forehead and crown. The title was changed to Existence of God is Self-Evident, since this is one of the most important spiritual findings. God's blessings be with you in your search for spiritual truth. Now just imagine if the teacher were to say this, because these are his words. We are reading this. So when he says, whoever reads this, he's trying to bless us here. He's saying, God's blessing be with you. Just remember these words coming from teacher's voice as a blessing, right? I'm just reading it for you. So what he has written is for the one who's listening and one who's reading. So for you and me. So the teacher indirectly is saying, blessings of God be with us as we read this book in our search for spiritual truth. Now you say, since you're receiving something, I want you to mentally say, I'm accepting these blessings and spiritual energy teacher. Thank you. Okay, open your eyes.